we've kind of got this ethos within the organization of 100% fast, 70% correct, and that it's okay to fail, right? Like, not to steal from Elon, but it's like, failure is an option at Call Dad. Like, you can make mistakes, it's okay, but you got to dust yourself off and clean up and move forward. And if you don't have that mentality that I'm not going to come down with a whip and I'm not going to, fire you for screwing up, and you can dust yourself off and move forward with positivity and resolve to, solve whatever mess you've made, and that it's okay. Like collectively as an organization, we accept that. Then the culture will survive.
Welcome to the $100 Million Mindset, the source for business owners who aspire to scale, grow, and reach their full potential. Whether you're aiming for 5 million, 10 million, or 100 million. Your hosts are Alan O'Neill, the Irish plumber, who scaled Abacus Plumbing and Cooling to over 100 million, and test tube Todd Liles, a coach to high-performing business leaders and the owner of Service Excellence, are going to help you think bigger, act smarter, and take your business to the next level.
Hey everyone, I am here with my friend Alan O'Neill, and today we have a special guest, Matt Posda, with Call Dad of the Carolinas. Now, Alan, you're going to really enjoy getting to know Matt. We're going to introduce him here in just a moment. I know Matt from working with Matt and his company and continuing to have conversations with him even after we weren't working together. And Matt has an impressive business, but he also has a really, really impressive challenge. Challenge number one is that his business is in Charlotte, North Carolina. And if you know anything about the trades, that means he is competing with Morris Jenkins. Because of challenge number one, he was smart enough to go, what I'm going to do is I'm going to build many castles on many hills, which means he's in many cities of the Carolinas, right, both north and south, which creates challenge number two. How do you scale a company with many locations? Well, he's doing it well, and he's agreed to come in here and talk to us about how he built his technicians fast and how he built his managers slow and how this allows him to scale his company. So, Matt, welcome.
Awesome. Thanks for having me, Todd and Alan.
Hey man, thank you for being on here, and Alan, as always.
Yeah, it's great. It's great to have you, Matt. The name of your company is very familiar to me, and I'm excited to get to know you a little bit. I'm looking forward to it.
That's awesome. I'm glad to bring some salmon to this room, so appreciate it.
That's right. That's right. Some sanity to the madhouse. It's good.
Yeah. So if you're watching, you'll see that Call Dad has this beautiful pink salmon shirt. And
salmon.
Alan, they
pink,
say it's
salmon. Come on.
Salmon.
Okay.
Salmon. Pink shirt. it takes real men and women that can wear salmon, right, Matt?
Exactly. Real dads wear salmon.
Real dads wear salmon. That's exactly right. All right. So the first thing that I want to talk about here is a little bit of a mindset problem. I take it back. It's not a mindset problem. It's a mindset that gets excited about the problems. So in our pre-interview, Alan, I was asking Matt some questions, and this is what he said. He said, I tend to find myself motivated by negativity, like a firefighter mentality. I love that. Most people aren't going to admit that.
I do too, Todd. Like I like to have a mountain in front of me I can charge at. So let's take the hill,
So let's jump into that, man. When someone hears you say, like, hey, I tend to be motivated by negativity, I like firefighting things, what does that mean? Give us an example, and let's sort of jump into that as our first topic.
Yeah, I would say what I find myself having to do all the time as a leader is just make sure that I'm also celebrating wins, because I am constantly hunting out problems. Like my day is like looking for areas that I can fix in the business or areas that I can get better and grow. So this probably goes all the way back to my dad's, like how I came up with the business name. And my dad, always coached my brother, and it led to this chip on the shoulder mentality that I have. And I always am striving to be a perfection. I'm always trying to make my dad proud, like that type of mentality. So I'm just striving to make everything as good good as it can ever be, which is a blessing and a curse. It's a blessing because we're constantly getting better as an organization, but it's a curse because I feel like every single day I'm just looking for everything that's wrong.
Yeah.
So Matt, sorry, can I ask a quick question here? Did you start that company from scratch, or did you buy an existing company and change the name?
It depends on your definition. So yeah, I bought a business in January of 2017. I actually have a finance background. Bought a business, had a bad experience with a company, decided I was going to go buy a business. The business I bought was primarily, it was like 98% new construction. So that's why I say it depends on how you define that question, because I did start the service and the retail side from scratch, but I bought an existing business that was primarily new construction.
Great.
Yeah. So, guys, I'm asking you both, and I'll give a little bit of a background example because I think Matt and I might share this a little bit. This week, I was asked a question in front of another I was asked a question from a person that I work with very closely that's very talented. She's highly skilled. But she'd asked me a question in front of another person that's also working on a co-project that we're working on. And this isn't on the service excellence team. It's in our support teams outside of that. And instead of going, oh, my goodness, you are so highly skilled, and these are the things that you've done that are amazing, which is what I say to everyone when they ask me about her. Mm-hmm. But because she had asked in the presence of another team member, and I was already talking to another team member about the project, I went immediately into work mode, Matt, and immediately started going, yeah, things are good. But look, here are all the things that are going to make it better. And these are the things that we got to do next. And I'm so excited for these steps and these steps and these steps. Well, I found out not too shortly thereafter that really hurt that person's feelings. And then there was, a long conversation, and I get why it hurt their feelings. Mm-hmm. I mean, it makes sense to me, and I knew it, and even I felt like bad about it because I'm going, this person was just excited to hear me talking about what we're charging forward on. It's like, yeah, and man, look at what we've done, and I didn't pile onto the excitement. I immediately went into the improvement mode. Right. And for a high driver type personality, that's confusing for people because they think that means that I'm not happy or I'm not satisfied. It's like, no, it's not that at all. It's like the next step's going to be even more exciting. Yeah. But for people that are working on it, all they heard was, you're disappointed in me. Is that what you're talking about, Matt?
Well, here's what I would say is where I have matured is number one, awareness, right? Being aware of my personality, being able to detach from my personality and realizing that there's a switch that I need to control. This goes all the way back to like the bank account. Everybody's got the bank account above their head type thing. And I gotta know when somebody needs affirmation and when I need to be really focused on relationship building. So like what you were talking about there, giving the affirmation. And then I know I need to know when I have enough, deposits in that account that I can really focus on the problems that I want to discuss. So being able to like truly detach, know my own personality and know when I'm in information gathering mode versus information sharing mode, and being able to, again, switch between those two.
That's hard to do, though, don't you think, Alan?
It is. It's really hard to do because I think we all, as entrepreneurs, have a little bit of impatience, right? We know we can see the goal. We need to get to the goal, and sometimes we can skip the, hey, you're doing great, but look, can we also do this? Yeah. So I think it's super important, Matt, and it is a maturity thing. Like I'm still learning that. Like sometimes maybe I'll want to say something to my wife, but I forget I have to say some, constructive stuff before I might, So anyway, yeah, we could all do with a little bit more patience when it comes to getting what we want, I think.
So Matt, I agree with you, Alan. Matt, going back to you're saying, monitoring your maturity a little bit on that. In that moment, I know the reason why I failed was because I don't work with that person directly day to day enough to know them. So because I didn't know them, I was just me. Yes. And because what I know about other people that I get to work with closely is that I don't do that because I know them. So in those moments when I didn't know them, it's like, oh, yeah, I should have, in my brain, there was nothing negative about it. Right. and there wasn't anything negative about it, but it didn't matter. It's not what was sought after.
It's how it was perceived.
Yes,
Todd,
yes,
right?
and the person was correct because it was their perception. So Matt, for you, you told me that some of these things have happened to you, and I just sort of went first and said, I had some collateral damage I had to clean up there because I really value that person. Where has this created some collateral damage in you, where it's like you fail to recognize people sometimes because you're like, I'm just trying to improve the process?
Yeah, what I would say is not realizing that I need to get the entire culture on board with my mentality, right? And we've kind of got this ethos within the organization of 100% fast, 70% correct, and that it's okay to fail, right? Like, not to steal from Elon, but it's like, failure is an option at Call Dad. Like, you can make mistakes. It's okay. But you got to dust yourself off and clean up and move forward. And if you don't have that mentality that I'm not going to come down with a whip and I'm not going to, fire you for screwing up, and you can dust yourself off and move forward with positivity and resolve to, solve whatever mess you've made, and that it's okay. Like, collectively as an organization, we accept that. Then the culture will survive. Like, I can go into a meeting and I don't have to tiptoe around addressing problems or trying to create solutions that we know are going to result in ultimate problems. So I don't know if that answers your question, but there is a level of like getting the culture on board with the mentality that we're all collectively trying to solve things together, right? And I think like the most pure, I can't remember who said this, but like the most pure definition of culture that I ever heard was like the collective group caring about one singular thing as much as they care about each other, and being able to put everything else aside to achieve that one thing as a collective. And as long as, again, we're on that same page that we're going to mess up, we're going to have problems. But hey, as long as we're going 100% fast, we're okay being 70% wrong,
Yeah.
or 70% correct.
Alan, one of the things that he and I spoke about in sort of like our pre-interview was that in this mindset of we want to be 70% fast, right? Matt, you said that you've been burned too many times by not moving on fast enough. So I think for you, you've sort of had some of the opposite lessons that other people have had, which is when you move slow, the result for you is not good. So when you move fast, you'd rather reiterate if it breaks, right? So specifically in relation to people, this was a very specific statement that you made. And the quote that you said to me was, sometimes there's just personality traits that you can't correct. So how do you know, like, what's your number one tell? It's like, okay, it's time to move and move fast and perhaps disconnect this person.
Yeah, I think, again, Alan, to your point of like, I know that I still have enormous amounts of faults. I am very high EQ. Like, it's just in my nature to want to help individuals succeed. And I think this was another Dewey Jenkins line here, but it's like sometimes we focus too much on people's faults and we're trying to correct their faults as opposed to focusing on what they're good at. And I have definitely found myself over the years where I've got a relationship with somebody and I think I have the power or the ability to coach them through their faults. And sometimes you just got to realize that it's not possible. Like, no matter how hard I try, there's some people you just can't save. And that's been tough for me over the years because I've wanted to help people. I've wanted to bring people with you. But we all know this, like, if you're not growing as fast as the organization's growing, unfortunately, the organization is just going to outgrow you. And we've had that happen one too many times. And I'm still tore up about some people, but onward and upward, right?
So, Matt, I have a question around people. So you came from a very white collar industry into this crazy blue collar industry we're in, right? What surprised you most about the workforce in a good way, and maybe what surprised you most in a bad way about, like, the people, what they respond to, etc.?
Yeah, I would say should have known that not everyone wants to be up at 2 a.m. Emailing and texting.
Right,
So
right.
that was a surprise. Like, it's not, in finance, you're coming from all type A personalities of, it is a grind. Everyone signed up for it. And just realizing that I can't apply that same
Oh, you're
grit and
not joking. You're
determination.
serious.
Dead serious. Yeah. There was years that I worked 18 hours a day for, entire years. So it was just that was a different switch for me to be able to say, like, hey, not everyone's on the same schedule as me. But I would say, Alan, what was really cool to me is, how I ended up in this industry was my dad raised me very hands-on. I knew electrical, I knew plumbing, I knew carpentry. And when my HVAC system broke, I knew nothing about it. And I couldn't call my dad about it. So I had curiosity to figure this out. And the same amount of curiosity that I had about HVAC, I found that a lot of blue collar folks have about business. They want to get better. They want to learn. It's just unfortunate, not as much today, but at least when I got back in the industry, it was kind of taboo. Like, people did not want that. You didn't want the field to get smart about business, because then you were scared they were going to take your job. But they still to this day, and I think that's why Dad U is so big for us, is because they have curiosity. It's just there's not a lot of quality opportunities to cultivate it.
Yeah, and we're definitely going to talk about.
Yeah, I was just going to say that was, to me, the most. I don't want to say that I undervalued it, but I didn't give enough credit or kudos to the fact that they wanted to learn just as much about me as I wanted to learn about them, and that was really cool.
That's great.
Yeah,
that's fantastic. Yeah.
I'll hit on one other topic, which is moving fast. And this isn't about moving from people, like trying to hang on to people too long. This is actually moving fast in systems and operations. Context here is that you talked about removing a dispatch fee. And in your mind, you thought that if I remove this dispatch fee, it's going to lift booking rates, it's going to increase average tickets, it's going to do all these wonderful things. But what you found out is your booking rate did go up, but the tech mentality and appreciation towards the call went down, so the result was overall negative. So what did that teach you about the idea of a buy-in before you roll something out real fast?
Yeah, that's one where we definitely went too quick. We did not, even though we preach it, we're big into, Jocko and extreme ownership and all that. That was not one that we did a good job of cultivating that idea from the bottom to the top. So we moved too quick. We didn't do a good job communicating the why behind it. And it was not very long that we started sniffing out that, techs were questioning the fact that they were being dispatched for free. They thought it was disvaluing the service. And we didn't do a good job of explaining why or connecting the dots to what we saw in the call center from a booking rate benefit.
So did you switch back, Matt?
Yeah. Yes, we did.
Yeah. And see, I think that says a lot about you too, Matt. Like, I personally have never been shy about standing up in front of the guys and saying, listen, I made a mistake. This was wrong. We need to go back to what we were doing before. Because, like, I want them to know I'm human, I'm humble, I'm not afraid to admit a mistake. Like, and we tell them, if you're on a job and you make a mistake, tell us. We want to know. We want to fix it. You'll never get fired for admitting you made a mistake. So, like, I think that's very big of you to stand there and say, look, guys, we didn't roll this out well. Maybe it wasn't as good an idea as I thought it was. We're going back to what we were doing previously.
Yeah.
So how much is your service fee, man?
Right now, $89.
$89. Okay. And do you get pushback on that from customers? No.
Yeah, what we noticed was it was costing us about 5% in booking.
Really?
So So when we did shut it down, we did see that 5% tick up.
Yeah, which is fine.
But the end result was so if you could do it differently. The
result was conversion went down, right? Like,
yes.
Yeah.
That was the unintended result.
I'm not actually so sure that even if you'd have to experiment with it. I'm not so sure that even if you took the time to train on this process over a long period of time and everyone was bought in, that I think your booking rates might still stay up, but I'm not so sure that the technician conversion would get all that much better. I think I certainly believe that there is a value to the mindset of a homeowner who's invested $89. I think the sunken cost of that alone will drive a lot of people to go ahead and saying yes to the other side of it.
Yeah, I'd agree. Yeah.
But what do you feel, Matt? Do you feel like it could have been done in a successful way if it was done differently? Or do you feel like, nah, that's an experiment that we're just not going to do again?
Here's what I'll tell you is because we failed at the execution of it, I wouldn't say that I have enough data to answer the question either way. I could tell you right now that we're not doing it. But
good call.
I can't tell you whether we had perfect data set to be able to prove that it worked or not. One thing, Todd, because we were talking the other day about the problem thing, and I'm reading a book right now on scaling by Ben Hardy. I don't know if you've read any of his stuff ever, but he's got this quote where I wrote it down just because of you, which is success, not failure, most urgently requires change. Follow the path of natural selection. If it ain't broke, fix it. And I thought that was very interesting because it kind of applies to this. Like, was dispatch fee really broken? And I think we could easily argue no. But if we're not trying to constantly innovate, we're not trying to constantly raise the floor, like there is a point where we'll hit the wall. So that's where it comes back to this 70% correct. Like, I'm okay making these mistakes as long as my ego is okay owning it too, right? So as long as I'm willing to own it, I'm willing to try it, and I'm willing to, eat it on the chin when I'm wrong.
Can I ask one question?
Yeah, go ahead.
Matt, what was the motivation behind the change? Did you have a competitor not charging a fee and you were trying, or was it simply to try and raise booking rates, or?
Yes, we have an AI agent that's watching our bookings and non-booking dispositions, and we noticed that 5% was service fee concerns. So we started really digging into those calls, and we were like, all right, well, let's try this for a month and just see what happens. And again, booking rate went up by that 5%. So we solved that part of the equation, but obviously we moved too fast on that one because we didn't get buy-in on the other side. So it was booking rate that initiated it. And again, we were able to solve for that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Very good.
To answer your question, we definitely know who Benjamin Hardy is. We hope to get him on the show. We won't go into the deep dive, but listen to the Billy Klein episode to really understand our perspective there.
Yeah.
All right. So you had
I
mentioned
can't tell,
Jocko.
is that good or bad?
It's not bad.
Okay.
He's like 90-10. 90% of his work blows me away. 10% of what he says is dangerous for most business owners. And the most recent book is very dangerous.
But isn't that true with everybody?
It is true with everybody, so it's definitely worth reading. I'd love to get him on here. I think that his first foray into really like going into the advisory role is probably good for guys like you, and maybe good for others. But I think a lot of the examples are very sort of big reach examples with lots of resources. And they're a little disconnected from the average Joe. And I think if the average Joe tried to tackle some of the things with some of that philosophy, I think it'd break them before they could recover from it. Yeah. And that's enough said on that. We go deep into that and other things, but he's like who, not how. But more importantly, The Gap in the Gain. I've recommended The Gap in the Gain to probably more people than any other book on the planet. So no, it's like massive fan. Such a massive fan. I think he's done such a good job. I think he's just got one little philosophy that he should probably reflect on. Yeah. So that's it. All right. And with that vein, Jocko, you and I are both massive fans. There's a protein milk, or mulk, as he calls it, in the fridge next door right now. Jocko Willink, yeah. Dripping Springs guy, huge fan of his stuff, love his books, recommend. It's probably second or third of the books that I recommend. But we kind of got into a conversation that where sometimes you had said that sometimes the content's like 10% and 90% is left out. That's more like boot camp type stuff. So same question here, which is not what's Jocko leaving out, but for you, what's the boot camp of Call Dead?
Yeah, and this is what I want to realize. want to be careful because again, love Jocko, everything he
Me
does,
too.
huge fan of. About Face, which I think was his, kind of extreme ownership, if you will. That was the book that led to a lot of the leadership principles and tactics that he has. I love that book. I recommend that book all the time. The Dichotomy of Leadership, all of those things are
Great
great
books.
fundamental books. I've realized that I think I went too heavy training people on leadership, uh, in realizing that I was not doing enough just basic management training. And that's something that I've really worked on doing a better job of. Again, we still practice extreme ownership. We're clients of Echelon Front, love what they do. Uh, but I think where we missed was that, the boot camp tactics of, management 101 stuff. So that's why we've kind of had a reset here as of late of, we really do need to do some fundamental management training.
Yeah. Well, it's probably not too dissimilar, right? Like he's teaching the leadership principles that he's learned, but if he was teaching those leadership principles to Navy SEALs, he'd put, flap jackets on them and guns in their hands and night vision, and
Right.
he'd take them into the field, and that's the 90% of what you're talking about. So you've still got to. It's sort of like that's still up to you guys internally,
Yeah.
right? So,
Yeah.
so let's talk about training because he's doing something really cool with Dead U. I want to say Call Dead University, but it's Dead U. And you've got a process that's really like dialed in for building technicians. Let me give you some numbers here, Alan. They have a 27-month apprentice program that is accredited. They do classroom plus field rotations in this. If you come on and get selected, which they have a very stringent selection progress, you get a 2-year commitment. So after the completion of the program, you're going to stay with Call Dead for 2 years. 93% of his staff finish the program. They got less than 2% acceptance rate. By the way, I think Harvard is a 4% acceptance rate. 2,000 plus applications per class cycle when the class is running, and they run it quarterly.
Wow.
93% of our tech staff is now graduates through their program.
That's amazing, Matt. Really amazing. I think that's great.
Yeah.
So are you just one trade or multiple trades, Matt?
Yeah, we just back in November launched plumbing. So we went out to existing techs and asked who wants to be in our inaugural plumbing class.
Right.
And then our second plumbing class actually came out this week.
Fantastic.
So yeah, now we're up to 25 total plumbers that we have out in the field.
And so who teaches that class for you, Matt?
Yeah, we have a full-time. She was trained as a teacher, so
Right.
obviously I grew up in the trade, for lack of a better term, in the shadow of Morris Jenkins. So I had a phenomenal example of what education in the trade should look like. So very early on, way before I ever should have, started investing very, very heavily into building our apprenticeship program. So we started it in 2022 and put our 10th class through its cycle at the end of last year. And then obviously now we've started plumbing through it as well. But yeah, we've got technical trainers, then we have actual educators. It's full blown. We've got leadership programs that we do through it. So it's a full blown kind of university, if you will.
That's fantastic. I mean, you are solving the problem that everyone seems to have, right? Where do I get technicians that, and then you don't have to worry about them bringing bad habits. You're teaching them in the class. It's fantastic. Yeah.
Well, I was just going to say, it's unbelievable, Alan, how prevalent people talk about training and education and that they have, a tech program, but very, very few companies actually execute on it. I can't tell you how many companies that I've toured or been to where, you go into their university and there's a 1/4 inch of dust on the tables. And it's like,
exactly,
when's the last time that you had a class? And they're like, well, we got kind of busy. Or you've got the scenario where, you ask them, all right, how many people do you actually have in the field that have come through your program? And they're, we've got a few, maybe, single digit percents. And it's like they want to do the program, but they're not willing to make the ultimate commitment and sacrifice that it takes to build it from scratch. And I will tell you, like, full stop. It is difficult, it is painful, and it is expensive, but it will pay off long term if you're just willing to commit to it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Alan, to put it into perspective, their kickoff is an 8-week kickoff, and over that 8 weeks, 20 students will cost the company somewhere between $200,000 to $250,000.
Wow. Wow.
So, you know,
Heavy stuff. Yeah.
obviously
Yeah.
investing $10,000 per student in 8 weeks.
Yeah.
I think that it goes back to like resources, right?
Right. Yeah.
So it's a beautiful thing, and it's something that has to happen when you get really committed to growing and can afford to do it. So, and I kind of want to talk about that a little bit. Like, do you mind if we talk numbers just a touch?
Can I just make one, because that's hard, right? Don't get me wrong, that's hard. Last year we spent, I think it was right around $2.5 million last year that we spent on Dad U. Where the real rub though is, Todd, is 6 months into them being in the field, when you go back to the managers and say, hey, I got to pull, Joe, Sam, and John back to get in class for 6 weeks. And they're like, whoa. Like, I just got them where I want them. They're just now hitting their stride. They can't go back in the classroom. Like, that's a battle. That's where most people fail in this, is like that cycle of continuing the education. So the expense.
Where are you taking them? Sorry, Matt. Where are you taking them back?
We're back in the classroom.
Yeah.
You know why?
Why?
Oh, to further educate. It's one of those where for at the actual accreditation portion, they have to pass a certain amount of test, and then they have to have certain certifications and hours in the field as well as the classroom. So it's part of the actual journeyman certificate that we issue.
Right. Yeah. So as they continue to expand this thing, right? When probably a little over a year ago, Matt and I were in deep conversations about how we could participate, because we'd been working with them at like this even expanded level. But the truth is I thought I understood it, but I didn't. I understand it more from our conversations last week, and even a little bit more now. Like, you go, they're investing $2.5 million a year internally. It's a big program. Big investment in Call Dad, $2.5 million. Obviously, a lot of people can't do that. Mm-hmm. But from your perspective, you couldn't do that in the beginning either. At what point in time did you go, man, I got to start investing? And what are the little ways that you started getting the people that you had better trained before you could go all in on this Call Dad item?
Well, I mean, obviously we brought you in, right? Like, we did some third party style stuff. So bring in third parties just to do general sales, general coaching, general kind of service level style training. So just any small opportunity that we could, service meetings on a weekly basis, really a lot of the fundamental basic stuffs that you should be doing as an organization, and just do it consistently. Like that's one of the most powerful things, is realizing that repetition matters, and people need to be reminded more than they need to be taught, and just sticking to it. So we started early with just small things, and it constantly evolved into much larger things.
So I think that where we sort of like, okay, you guys are going to take it from here, and you should have. I mean, what you guys are doing with Call Dad's amazing. I think y'all are going at like 20 million. Does that sound about right? About a year ago?
Yeah.
And where are you guys going to...
We finished 24, right at, I think it was 20.4 million.
Yep. And then what did y'all finish 25 at?
Just shy of 35 million.
35, so $15 million.
Fantastic. That's huge growth. Yeah.
What are y'all planning for this year?
Just north of 55.
Wow. That's a huge jump. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And I can you share your big vision that you share with me in 24? Is that public? Like your big number?
Yeah, I don't. This comes back to that motivated by negativity. Some guy that doesn't exist told me I can't build a business from sub $1 million to 250 million. So my goal is 250 million.
Seems reasonable.
I don't know who this guy is. When I find him, I'll let you know. But this comes back to like every day I wake up and somebody's like, "You can't do it."
I'm sitting here
Or at
wondering
least
if it's
that's what I
me.
tell
I don't think it
myself.
was though. It wasn't me.
No.
It wasn't me.
No, it's not. I'm saying this is. I'm not like being dramatic here or insinuating anything. This person doesn't exist.
So Matt, are
I
you
got
still
you.
the owner? You haven't sold out to private equity or anything like
No,
that?
yeah,
You're still, yeah.
one
Yeah.
of the few.
That's great.
Yep.
That's great. Yeah.
Yeah, he's
Well, every 250 million helps, Matt. So I think you've got a worthy goal there. Yeah.
yeah. Well, Matt, we're going to roll into. I love what you're doing at Call Dead. It's amazing. We're going to roll into the next topic, which is connected to that, which we're going to talk about recruiting and a little bit of training. And you have a very, very long recruitment cycle, which I know Alan believes in a consistent recruiting cycle. Here are some things that you had told me about inside of your funnel. You do video interviews, you do assessments, you have a recruiter do interviews, you have service manager interview, regional manager interview. Then it gets to Derek, then it gets to Matt. And if all of those things happen, they get an invitation to join the class. So that's at least 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 steps in your process. So that's pretty intense,
That
right?
is intense. Yeah. Yeah.
What are you learning at each level as you make someone down to the point where you're going, okay, I want to invite them to class?
Yeah, I mean, this comes back to we want to really make it feel like college, right? So I've had this actual debate with people several times where a lot of people in the industry argue that you should do these big hiring events, hire as many people as you can and fire fast. We believe in making it exclusive, kind of like, hey, sorry, you can't even get into applying for this class. We've got another class coming up in September. Please feel free to apply to that. So making it exclusive to the degree that people want to be part of it. They want to be in the know of when it's going to happen, and then make it so hard for people to make it down the funnel that the type of person that won't show up on time, or the type of person that wouldn't go above and beyond for a customer, won't make it through that funnel. Because if they're not willing to do a video interview by themselves, or they're not willing to actually figure out how to turn on the camera on a phone or a computer, like, that's clear, immediate red flags that they're not going to be able to figure out the technical side of this job. So part of it is, designed bureaucracy to make sure that they can make it all the way down that funnel. And then back to the premise that they need to be reminded more than, they need to be taught about it, is we're constantly trying to talk them out of it too. Like, hey, do you realize that you will be in a crawl space with spiders and snakes? Like, do you realize how bad this job sucks? Do you realize that at Call Dad, like, there is no cart and horse, chicken and egg scenario. The customer comes first, and the customer will always come first to the degree that we will inconvenience you and your life and your family for our customers. And we make that abundantly clear throughout the entire process. So again, that's why our acceptance rate is so low, but that's also why so many people want to get into it, because we do what we say and we follow through, and we give a lot of opportunities to individuals throughout the Carolinas.
So Matt, I have 2 questions for you. Do you tell them, do you realize you're going to have to wear a salmon colored shirt? Does that come up, Matt? No, what I wonder, Matt,
Alan, by the way, I've had really, really good, talented people, like when we've thought about bringing on like leaders or very, well-known industry experts who have refused to come to Call Dad because of the salmon shirts. You got to love it. Everybody wears it. Everybody wears it. And that's something I stole from About Face. That's, a Jocko principle right there.
Yeah. I think it's cool. And it's, we wear white shirts, but I will tell you that it's sort of like everyone wears white shirts now. Everyone wears booties. So I think if you have a salmon shirt, it's definitely distinctive, right? Mm-hmm. You're going to know it's a Call Dad thing. So what I wonder about your recruitment process, Matt, is like, how unusual is it for someone to get to level 4 or level 5 and be kicked out, in terms of like, or maybe they get to you're number 7 in the process, right?
No, I'm not in the process. So
you're not in the process.
No,
okay.
The Matt that he referenced was Matt Stewart, who's our COO.
Okay.
Matt probably has, I would say, around an 85% throughput. So Matt
Right.
is at Matt's level, which is, step 6 in the process, including the assessments and things like that. Matt is still gating the program. So it's not, hey, here's the check the box. It's, hey, this is the final, like, you better be ready for this interview. Because Matt will ask people.
So give me an example. I'm just super curious about this process. Give me an example, Matt, of something he would see in somebody that didn't crop up in the previous 5 steps.
Yeah, so we have a video that we've done that explains, our Dad's 5 pillars and what our mission is at Call Dad, which is fast, efficient solutions that eliminate uncertainty for homeowners across the Carolinas. So we send this to them, and this is where Matt really gets in the grain. Is he tells them that they need to take notes and prepare to answer questions related to that video, and he'll flat out ask them, and if they don't have the answers or they didn't do the work on it, you're done, you're out. So there's times where Matt, like, they'll think that that's the final interview, or they'll watch the video and they won't actually do the task that's required. So that's that. It's almost like a case study, if you will. And he holds the line on that very hard.
I know something that an audience member is thinking. They're thinking, with less than 2% acceptance rate, you do the multiple on that. That's a lot of people that are interviewing. How are you getting them to take the first step? Like, what is your recruiting resource, your marketing tool? What are you doing to make them go, oh, I need to go log into the website. I need to submit my application. I need to talk to these guys.
Yeah, I think it's momentum, right? Is initially, obviously, it was a lot of a grind and kind of Indeed ads and things like that. But now we have so much momentum that we don't even sponsor the ads for it. We do some social media videos about the program and the benefits and the design of it. But really, we don't have to do a lot. It's mostly word of mouth at this point. People call, we get called. I see through the call center all the time of people calling, asking when the next class is coming up. So people are aware.
I wasn't expecting that.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to say you're doing some portions of it on radio or some other things.
We do. So, like, some of the radio channels will throw in 15-second spots. I'll do some interviews at, radio stations or TV stuff, but they don't, honestly, number one, who can tell, or track attribution there, but not a lot of people mention that specific thing, or they heard the ad for their apprenticeship program on the radio. Most of it's word of mouth. I know XYZ who's been through the program, and I've been waiting for my shot.
Nice. So, Alan, after someone has been recruited, they've been through the training, Call Dad graduate, they then get to go on personal development programs, PDPs, right?
Yep.
And that's a really big deal. Acronym. Yeah, me too. I know that's a really big deal to Matt. He specifically said, I'd like to talk about that. So I want to jump into that. Tell us what your PDPs are and why they matter to your culture.
Yeah, so there are personal development pathways. So every single individual in Call Dad is on a PDP. It's effectively what most people would review or consider a review, except for we're actually trying to dig into what drives the individual. So we have a full-time dream manager or a corporate chaplain, whatever you want to call him. He's actually a reformed pastor, so he gets around, gets to know everybody, gets them onboarded to the PDP program. And then really what it comes down to in its most basic form is, I steal this from somebody, but it's like that aspect of the Dream Manager book. Like, my dream has to be big enough as a leader to encompass everyone else's dream. But I don't know how big to dream if I don't know what everybody's dream is. So what this does is, people are reluctant at first, but eventually, especially once we get them onboarded onto the program, they'll share what drives them in life, whether that's taking their dad on a fishing trip that he's always wanted to go on, whether it's a specific car that they want, whether it's their first house, whatever it is, we're ultimately trying to get them to acknowledge what that is and then put it on paper so that not only can we hold them accountable for their dreams, but they can hold us accountable to make sure that we're helping them achieve that dream. So if somebody says like this just happened last week, somebody's PDP, they wanted to move to another market that we're not in. They wanted to move to the beach. And it's a beach that we don't serve, and it's not like a situation where we were not supportive or we didn't give him advice to try and achieve that. And we're celebrating the fact that he and his fiance are moving to the beach and achieved his dream that he always wanted to. So it's if we're not aligned in helping the individual, how are they going to be motivated to serve our customers? How are we going to be able to actually hold them accountable for why they're coming to work every single day?
Matt, I have a question. So you stated that your kind of BHAG was $250 million in revenue. And I guess it's a two-part question is, number one, have you shared that number with the staff? Like, do the staff know what the dream is? And then number two, most goals I said are time-based. I'm sure you're the same. You seem to be very structured and organized. What is your time frame for achieving that goal? Is it 5 years, 20 years, 10 years? What's your time frame?
Yeah. So first question, yes, absolutely. Every single time that I'm on stage at our semi-annual company meeting, I'm telling that story of how I came up with that number and why we're marching towards that number, and then also what we're doing next, right? So it's not like here's the end, and I'm driving off and onto the horizon once we hit 250. It's just that's our goal, and that's our North Star. That's where we're headed towards. And then on the second part of that, it would be 2030. I think we can do it by 2030.
2030. Wow, that is ambitious, man.
Well, it is when you think about it in a single location form. But you would have to understand our network and how we've built the multi-location view. We intentionally, and Alan, I know you're familiar with some of the larger organizations that have tried to go multi-location through satellite offices, and you see the complications that those create, and the dynamics that can create with, redheaded stepchild or tail wagging the dog type scenarios. And there's a whole host of different, like, what is awesome for us is because we did it years before we should have. A lot of the problems as it relates to culture transparency, a lot of the dynamics as it relates to shared capacity, a lot of the dynamics as it relates to, how to actually manage centrally. We've figured all those things out because we did it years before we should have. So we're not talking, when you look at the math, we're not talking about taking one location from 50 million this year to 250 over the course of a few years. We're talking about taking, 8-10 locations from 6 million to 15, 20. So when you think about it in that context, it seems a lot more achievable than when you think about it in a single location.
Which just makes me think that I know that you guys are building out technicians. You've got a great program there. So I'm going to ask the hard question, because you said your management program is weak. That seems to be like where you're going to live or die on this goal, is in your managers, not your techs. You've got that figured out. So tell us what about your management training program. What are you doing now?
Yeah, well, we're training management. Don't write emails in all caps.
Right.
No. In all seriousness, like we've done a few things. One is we're having way more vertical integration, so we're actually getting the managers together. We're kind of realigned how we're doing some company meetings. We've tried to get the ineffective meetings out. We're trying to really make sure that we've got direct line of communication between those managers in leadership. We do things like, I just came here actually from Raleigh this morning where we did a town hall. So we do every week we rotate a location where we do town halls where the entire leadership team goes and sits down with the location. Everybody can fire away any questions that they want. It's really to discuss with them. So we're just really trying to bring the full force of leadership to make sure that that manager is supported, and then give them the tools and the resources to be successful.
So what do you think your biggest obstacle to hitting the 250 is, Matt?
AI.
You think it's your biggest obstacle?
Yeah, I don't really see, other than what you've already said, which is the mid-level managers. I don't see, from a brand perspective, we're able to generate the leads. From a technician perspective, we're able to generate the techs. Uh, I don't see, I don't see any other outside of that mid-level manager. Obviously, I'm joking about the AI thing. I firmly believe the trades are protected, at least for the foreseeable future. Uh, so
Oh, I
I
thought
don't
you
know,
meant you
Alan.
thought AI was making potential managers dumb.
Well, this is what yes. If you want to go that path, yes. But I think that's more humanity than just managers.
Me too.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
agree.
I don't know, Alan. Let me throw that back at you. What do you think my biggest challenge would be? And I can tell you after you answer, I can tell you what other people tell me.
I think speed of growth is like to get from where you are now to 250. It's super fast growth. Whether you're like, it's almost legendary growth if you achieve it, Matt. Right? And so I don't know if you've experienced this, but my guess is you have. The wheels tend to start to fall off the bus at certain levels of growth. And, sometimes you get a warning, you hear the rattle of the wheel coming loose and you can fix it. And sometimes the wheels are off the bus and the bus is on the floor before you actually realize the wheels are coming off the bus. So I think just speed of growth may be your biggest obstacle, because is your team moving at the same speed as the growth? Like, are you expanding the team and the network of managers and support to create the growth? I mean, I hadn't met you before, 20 minutes ago or whenever we started, but I'm kind of getting excited for you because I sort of think you can do it. And I'm not blowing smoke here. Most people, if we were interviewing them and they said they're going to grow to 250 million by 2030, I was like, we might want to drug screen that guy. Like, he may not be all there, right? So no, but it is going to be hard, Matt. But I think with what you're doing with your technicians and growing your own and the kind of culture you seem to have in the company, you have a pretty big competitor on your doorstep that tend to obviously gobble up a big piece of the market. But as Todd described it, you're sort of building around that more so than directly competing. So yeah, I think just managing the growth is going to be the hardest thing of all. Is because it's like massive growth, like unbelievable growth.
I've actually thought about this quite a bit, which is he's so well organized.
Right.
And 2 years ago, not quite 2 years ago, but going on, I guess at the end of this year would be 2 years ago, I saw his spreadsheets where it had 250 at the end of it. It's like, oh, that's okay. Go ahead, big dog. If Morris Jenkins, and there's no shame in saying that, we're fans of Jonathan, we're fans of Dewey, so is Matt.
Yeah.
Anybody that knows those guys, you got to be fans of them.
Absolutely.
If Morris Jenkins wasn't in Charlotte, I found myself wondering, like, would Matt be aiming for 150, but just in Charlotte?
Right.
Because and frankly, I think he could do it. I don't know all the different population areas. You do, so you've done the math on it, right? So, but that's just something that I've thought about, right? Like Matt Allen is like, I believe Matt's $100 million operator easy.
Oh yeah.
And I just find myself going, man, I just feel like it'd be so much easier for you if you had one central location where you didn't have someone like Jenkins that actually they own so much of that market. But I'd like to hear your thoughts on that.
Well, two things on that. One is we joke about this all the time, especially with my director of training. Her and I joke about this all the time, which is had a different tech come to my house that day that I had an issue with HVAC in my house, I wouldn't be in this issue in this industry. Like, there's a very high likelihood that if I had just a tech that was either in the right headspace and right mood, or somebody that was executing, their playbook effectively, I would not be in this industry. But because I got what I got, it sparked this drive in me to really, really dig in and really, really dig in with a customer first mentality. So beyond just the Morris Jenkins effect of would the business be what it is and would my goals be what it is, would I even be in this industry to start? And then on top of that, the Morris Jenkins specifically is, I think because I saw what Dewey did, I saw what Jonathan did, and I saw what perfection looks like. Like I still tell people to this day that I think they are the best operators in the world. Like, don't get me wrong. There's some good guys in Phoenix. There's some good guys in Texas. Like there's some good guys around the country. Do not get me wrong. But I've been to every market where they say that they have the most competitive market and you don't know what it's like to have this company in your town. Morris Jenkins is incredible. And they run an incredible organization and they have an incredible training program and they have all of these incredible things that they do. I probably would not have the expectations and I probably wouldn't hunt for the problems in the business that I do if I wasn't in the shadow of that. So yes, I don't know if that answers your question, but I have unbelievable respect and I don't think they know. I've told Jonathan this before, but I don't know how much they truly appreciate how much admiration I have for them and how much they've impacted me and my perspective on this industry.
So how far is your furthest location from your central office, Matt? Like what's the geographic?
Yeah, so we have, are you familiar with North and South Carolina at all? Yeah, so North Carolina, if you think kind of west to east, I-40 goes west to east. So we've got Asheville, Hickory, Winston-Salem, Greensboro, and Raleigh. So that kind of goes across North Carolina. And then if you think of South Carolina, which kind of sits down here, so we're talking northwest to southeast. You've got, again, Asheville, where I-26 meets I-40. And then we've got Greenville, Columbia, and Charleston. So it comes down that way. So our farthest distance between any two markets would be Charleston and Raleigh, which is about 4.5 hours. But this is one thing that we've done a really good job on, which comes back to this shared capacity and shared logistics, is that every single day we're shifting resources across the organization. And so if we have excess capacity in Raleigh and we need capacity in Charleston, well, obviously that would be stupid to send a tech 4.5 hours to a call. So what we do is we just shift the entire organization. So Raleigh will shift to Greensboro, Greensboro will shift to Winston, Winston to Hickory, Hickory, Charlotte, Charlotte to Columbia, Columbia to Charleston. And that's how we adjust the business every single day, multiple times a day for capacity.
Wow. That seems like an absolute nightmare to manage, Matt. All credit to you for being able to do it, but it seems like a nightmare to manage.
Yeah. You'd be shocked at how well they do it. Like it doesn't even exist anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. That's fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah. Well done. I'm excited for you. I want you to win for a variety of reasons. One of which is you're just a heck of a nice guy. So I want to see you win because I like you, and why not, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and it would also be interesting. You get to 250 with one location owner, a single location owner. You will have done something that no one else has done if you exit at that or whenever you exit, right? Which, I mean, if you're sitting at a decent profitability, you'll eclipse the most recent sale with Service Champions.
Yeah, 2.5 billion. Yeah.
So, I mean, what are you going to do when you've sold your businesses for billions of dollars, Matt?
I'm going to call that guy that told me I couldn't do it.
Yeah, I think you should. In fact, I don't think you should call him. I think you should go show him your check.
Yeah. Maybe what you should do is buy that guy a house as appreciation. I couldn't have done this without you.
Yeah.
Find that technician that gave you such a crappy service experience and give him a brand new Platinum F-150 and said, all of this is because of you.
No, you know what I'm doing next instead is, look out Georgia and Tennessee. So we'll have fun continuing to expand.
Very well. All right. Well, I'm wishing you luck. I believe in you. I don't think Dr. Benjamin Hardy's book is dangerous for you. In case you're curious, I think it's good for you.
You know, what's funny is we need to catch up after this because I think I know what part you're referencing. I just need to confirm that. But anyway, Todd, you know, I love you, man. I appreciate all you've done for me and the friend that you've been over the years. Alan, I'm sorry, this is the first time we're meeting. I truly appreciate it.
Yeah, it's unusual that we haven't met, but I have one last question. Have you ever used the baseball bat on an employee? Like I see the baseball bat in the background. Or have you ever wanted to?
The old Spalding. Well, there's a reason it's red, Alan. So
it's covered in blood.
All right. We won't talk any more about that on the grounds we may incriminate you, Matt. So we'll...
Yeah, Alan, I'm really happy I got the chance to meet you on here and look forward to staying connected with you. Thank you, guys.
Me too. If I'm ever in the Carolinas, I'll look you up, Matt, for sure.
All right, Alan. So you met my friend Matt, and he's pretty incredible, right?
He is incredible. What an episode. What a story. Unbelievable.
I believe he'll do it. I think he's going to have lots of stories to tell us along the way as he does it as well.
I can't...
Did you not learn anything? You're supposed to tell me I can't do it. That's what... I need that motivation.
Yeah.
I can do it. I walk out of here happy.
Listen, if you could just suck a little less, you might do it.
In case you guys are curious, Matt was sitting in the background while we record the outro, and he just said, "You're supposed to tell me you can't do it." So, Alan, this guy sucks so hard.
So bad.
He's such a crappy operator. It's like, I'm embarrassed. I'm not even sure if I'm going to release this episode, Alan.
How did he get so lucky? I don't know.
I don't know. He must have someone else doing all of the work because there's no way this dumbass is going to be able to do any of this.
He's just the eye candy, Todd. He's clearly just the eye candy.
Are you feeling more motivated, Matt?
You said this. I've always
hit record, Alex.
That show How I Built This.
Oh, yeah.
One of my dreams is to be on that show. And the reason is at the end is he asked that, is it hard work or is it luck question? And I went to University of Virginia, so I'm a huge Thomas Jefferson fan. That may not be PC today, but it is what it is. I'm a TJ fan. And he has this quote that he says, "I'm a firm believer in luck. I find the harder I work, the more I have of it." And I've always lived by that philosophy that TJ bestowed upon me. So
that is a wonderful quote. I didn't know it was Jefferson. I thought that was Abraham Lincoln, but it's probably lots of really smart people that have worked hard and figured out like they're doing good things.
So you can safely say TJ and MJ have been very instrumental in your success.
There you go. So. It's the J's.
It's the J's, yeah. Morris
All the
Jenkins
J's, yeah, no question.
Yeah.
All right, brother. Well, again, we think that you can do it, but we're going to say you can't because we want to keep you motivated. So please stop sucking so badly and go out there and do something that someone would be impressed by because this is stupid. This is pitiful. This is like baby stuff you're doing, right? Call Dad. What a dumb name. Come on, Matt. Step it up.
By the way,
obviously we're kidding. We love you, brother.
I've got called Dad trademarked. So if any of you want to say it, it's now Ring Father. Just so you're aware.
Yeah, well, I immediately went out and got called Mom. I'm just waiting to start up the competitor.
No, you didn't, because I've got that too.
I know I didn't. All right, man. Good to see you, buddy. Bye.
Appreciate it, guys. We'll see you. Thank you.
Hey, thanks so much for watching the show this week. Head over to toddliles.com/mindset to get the show notes. Please make sure to like, subscribe, and follow so you never miss a new episode of the show. And if you enjoyed this episode, then share it. It really helps us get the word out. You've been watching the $100 Million Mindset with Alan O'Neill and tap dancing Todd Liles.